Hello everybody and welcome to another evening of Nail Talk Live. Actually, the first evening of the new season. A new season ahead of us.
Yeah, together.
Together, but
Bit
not alone.
But not alone.
Yeah, different.
Yeah, a little bit different than the last season, huh?
Yeah, but we'll talk a little bit of that after the leader.
Yeah.
Tonight we have a very controversial theme.
We do.
Because we're going to discuss, of course, you as a nail technician know that you have to prepare the natural nail before you apply gel polish or artificial product.
The first step.
But now comes the dilemma. Do you cut the cuticle while preparing the natural nail or don't you cut the cuticle? Opinions are very controversial and against each other. Some people really believe that it's an absolute no-go to cut the cuticle. Other people always cut the cuticle. So we're going to find out A, why do we actually do the prep? And then what is the best and easiest way to do the prep? So I'm curious to how this evening will go. So let's get started. Before we go into our theme of this evening, prepping with or without cutting, you already mentioned that we have a little bit a different setup for this season.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. Well, we always did it together last season, and now we were talking and thinking, well, maybe it's fun because in the Dutch version of Nail Talk Live, we always do it together, but with all of our Dutch nail art our trainers. And well, we started to invite them into this English version. So for today, we have two of our trainers, and hello, Linda and Cerisa. And well, welcome. Super, super, super cool that you are coming and discussing the topics with us.
Yeah,
and
we're very happy that you're here.
Yeah.
But first, of course, you have to introduce yourselves a little bit because we know you and you're our friends, but you need to be friends also for the people that are watching. Linda, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, of course. I'm Linda Verkooyen and I'm from the south of Holland. I'm 37 years old and I'm a nail technician since 2005. And I'm also a magnetic trainer. And that's what I do.
Yeah, okay. My name is Risa Klein. I'm 41 years old. And I'm a nail stylist now for 9 years. And I'm a teacher, a magnetic trainer already for 3 to 4 years. I'm not getting count. Yeah, you can see me every week in Nail Talk Live, the Dutch version, and today also in the English version. So great.
Yeah, we're very happy that they're here.
Yeah,
we also have somebody else here this evening, but she will come a little bit later. Every show we will alternate our trainers to give their opinions, their ideas and their views on the topics that we will discuss with you and with our trainers. We will also show demos that we did for the Dutch version of Nail Talk Live. And I mentioned the Dutch version because, of course, we are from Holland, we are Dutch, and that means that sometimes we may forget how something is called, but we will always help each other to figure it out in English. Our topic for this evening is, I think, the most controversial we ever did when it comes to nails.
Yeah.
And that is, if we do the prep procedure, so the preparation of the natural nail, are we going to cut the cuticle or aren't we going to cut the cuticle? Prepping the natural nail. First of all, why do we actually prep the natural nail? Because it's something that we do standard, but especially if you're new to this profession, you may wonder, why don't I just file the natural nail with a file and over and done with? Cerisa and Linda, what can you tell a beginning nail tech on the importance of prepping?
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing is that the nail plate is completely clean from dead skin, so you have a great adhesion for your products. And yeah, Lynn, what do you think?
Of course, the adhesion, but also when you do the prep a little bit further or more, you expand it, then you get a more clean cuticle and you can apply your artificial product closer to the cuticle. So it looks more neat.
No, that is true. Of course, Doing a prep is essential to prevent lifting because artificial nail products cannot adhere on skin. And the dead skin cells that we remove during the prep procedure, they prevent adhesion of the artificial product. So first let's have a look at a diagram so that we know what we're talking about. On this diagram you can clearly see, this is a side shot of the nail, you can see the proximal nail fold, and that's the cuticle, what we call the cuticle, and it folds itself inward. Inward it covers the natural nail, so it folds into the natural nail, and where it folds into the natural or into the finger, where it touches the natural nail, this is what we call eponychium. And eponychium is the seal between the skin and the nail. When that seal grows, when the nail grows, this eponychium residue sticks to the nail surface, and when it comes past the cuticle, this turns into cuticle. And that is what we remove during a prep procedure to prevent lifting, as I said.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of info, a lot of things that I'm mentioning here. So I have one more picture for you so that you can see what we're talking about. Here you can see a top shot of the proximal nail fold. That's the fold that folds itself in, and the residual product or skin on the nail, which is called cuticle. And this skin is what we always remove during the prep. There is never a moment that we say, oh, let's leave this cuticle on the nail. This cuticle is made out of dead skin cells. Well, now we come to the first part of this theme. Is it called cuticle, or does it perhaps have a different name? Because there is the name also used, and that's pterygium. So for this, I go back to our experts to explain to us what is the difference between pterygium and cuticle.
Well, pterygium is, I don't know how to pronounce it in English, but that's actually a nail disease. So it's when you have this disease, you have an infection inside your nail, within the proximal nail
fold.
Yes, and
it actually attaches to the nail plate and it pulls the skin.
Yes.
And you cannot remove that.
Oh, that's true.
Well, what is important to mention, perhaps, to you is that there was quite a big discussion in Europe, and I think it's a worldwide discussion, between the use of the word pterygium and the use of the word cuticle. And why is that? Years ago, when this industry started, the word cuticle is actually indicative of both the skin surrounding the nail, because in layman's terms, cuticle is just the whole skin, so the whole proximal fold is what somebody that is not a professional calls cuticle. And to give a clear cosmetic difference between the living cuticle and the dead cuticle, some companies started to use the word pterygium to describe the dead cuticle. But as Linda mentioned, this is an illness. So it's wrong to say that. We have to say cuticle or use the Latin word cuticula. This cuticle, Shiriza, that's made of dead skin cells. Is it easy to remove this?
Well, it's very easy to remove this. Normally you use a pusher, and after that you can use a lot of extra things to clean this. But you also can use a cuticle remover that makes it a little bit more soft, and then it's easier to push it away with your pusher.
Yeah, it is easy to do this, to remove it, but you have to know what you're doing. So we're first going to show you how to do a normal traditional prep without cutting on a natural nail prior to application of artificial product. So let's have a look at what Natalia Gritsenko is doing. So here you can see Natalia, our international trainer, first disinfecting the hands, which is of course always important, but nowadays it's extremely important. She's working with gloves to protect herself and her client, and now she's going to use prep and wipe on the natural nail, spraying it to use as a lubrication when she starts to push back the cuticle with the rounded side of the basic cuticle pusher. So be careful not to cut the skin at this moment. That's why she's using the rounded side. Because this side, the side that we use to remove the dead skin cells, this is sharp. And as you can see from the side front, she's not pushing it into the nail, but she's gently using the corner of the pusher to remove the dead skin cells around the cuticle and around the lateral folds of the natural nail. So to clean it all up, as Sherisa mentioned, and make sure that the whole nail surface is ready to go and ready to be further prepped. In the past, people used to do this with just a 100 grit file, just roughing the hell out of this nail.
Terrible.
But we don't want to use a rough file, Sherisa, we want to use softer files.
Yes, maximum 220 grits for the nail plates.
Yeah, for the surface.
Yes.
And she's using the emery board. Why is she using a wooden file now?
Because it's very strong and it's also very thin, so you can go a little bit further in the sidewalls, not in the sidewalls, but
Connecting it to the
connecting it
sidewalls.
to the sidewalls. Yes, that's the
And a benefit of using a wooden core is, of course, that it's not that flexible.
yes, it's very strong.
Linda, she's now going to remove the shine of the natural nail. Why do we have to remove the shine of the natural nail using a file? Can't we do that with just alcohol?
No, because you really have to remove the oily layer
Yeah,
from
the upper layer.
Yeah, just for a perfect adhesion, only alcohol is not enough.
Now, alcohol also contains water, of course, so it
Yeah.
actually wettens everything.
Mm-hmm.
When you remove the shine of the natural nail, because we call it removing the shine of the natural nail, not roughhousing that natural nail, you always file in one direction. Why is that?
Also for the adhesion, because when you file two sides, the sort of openings that you are filing, it's getting more closed again. So
Yeah.
your adhesion will not be perfect. And don't be afraid to file, because there's also some discussion about it. The natural nail is about 100 to 150 layers,
Yeah.
and you only just remove like 1 or 2 layers, so it's not damaging the nail.
No, and when done properly, of course, you also do this only once, Jessica?
Yes, yes.
Because we don't remove the product
No.
every time.
No, this is just once, just the first time.
And you can see really,
soft.
she's working in almost like in lanes.
Yeah.
So
From the
making
left
sure that
side
she
to the right.
touches everything just
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
The natural nail contains oils and fats, and these are in the lipophilic and hydrophilic channels of the nails. And we cannot really dehydrate this from the nail surface. It always remains a little bit there. Angle the finger of the client when you work around that cuticle so that you are sure that you touch everything. Very gentle and soft motions. But as we saw, we didn't cut anything. We just gently push back the cuticle. Now we're removing the dust and we are purifying the nail plate layers so that the whole nail is dehydrated and ready for product application. Natalia is one of our international trainers. Well, she's our mega international trainer. She travels all over the world. She's a trainer of trainers, and she created a lot of different nails for us, and I worked a lot together with her, preparing our training material for the basic education classes. And we really love Natalia.
Natalia, yeah.
We hope that she will come back to Holland soon, but
yeah.
later this show she also shows us how to cut
Yeah,
with the cuticle.
she does.
Or cut the cuticle.
Yeah.
Not cutting with the cuticle. That would be a little bit strange, cutting with the cuticle. Anyhow, Sherisa, I invited you last year to participate in Nail Talk Live, and the first thing that I actually asked you to do was to show our viewers how to do an e-manicure. So using the e-file to do this same procedure, and then buffing it a little bit and preparing that nail to perfection. And I think that's the next step that we need to discuss. Is there anything you want to say before we watch your demo?
No, I think the best thing is to watch the demo, and then I'm gonna talk you
Comment
through
on
it. Well, I'm starting here with pushing back the cuticle with a cuticle pusher. And I think that's the most important thing to do before you use your prep bit. if your cuticle is still attached to the nail plate, you can get difficulties with using your prep bit because it have to slide through, not through.
No, it shouldn't touch the skin because it slides off.
Yes,
Well, I had
yes.
that a couple of times. This is now the prep bit, and at what RPM are you using this now?
Normally in the salon I take 30,000 RPM, but if you can also take 15,000. It's also good from 15,000, but
Yeah.
not less.
And you're using this prep bit because it's a diamond bit, and of course diamond bits are the only bits that we use on top of the natural nail.
Yes, on top of the natural nail, and you can press it a little bit against the skin, so both ways.
Because of the barrel shape.
Yes.
And now you're using the nipper. What are you cutting now?
I'm cutting only the loose parts of that skin that comes up, so that I can take them very easily away.
So
I
what we
think that's
call in Holland the
important.
flibbeltjes.
Yeah, the flippertjes.
The little pieces of that skin.
Yes, only the parts that I can get easily.
And now you're using the buffing bit
The
to
buffing
smooth
bit.
everything?
Yes, to smooth everything and blend it into a nice.
So you're using this on the skin.
Yes, on the skin. I leave a little bit on the nail plate and then I'm pressing against the skin.
This
So it's
tip
more
is
soft.
great. Just clarify because it looks very wet. Why is
Yeah.
it this wet?
Because I take the prep and wipe from the
Pump dispenser?
Yes, thank you. And then I'm clean it. Then I clean it
So you dehydrate and clean the nail in one
in
go.
one. Yeah.
So you push back the cuticle again because
Yes.
the cuticle goes back a little bit
Yeah, it goes back
before
a
you
little bit.
apply your color. And you first always start from the middle, eh?
Yes, yes, yes. Then most of the gel polish stays in the middle. After that, I clean my my brush,
Yeah.
and then I push a little bit more of the gel polish towards the cuticle. So that is not, then you have not too much gel polish.
One of the reasons why the Russian manicure is so popular is because people want to apply the gel polish as close to the cuticle as possible.
True.
And that's also one of your talents, let's put it that way,
Thank you.
because already it's like super close.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
but you even want to have it closer.
Yes, yes. That's why I use that the second brush now, the real brush, Jessica's Choice, because that one is very, very thin. The most, I think, the thinnest brush there is. And then I apply more gel polish underneath the cuticle. That's why I pushed it back.
Yeah.
And I have to work one nail at a time because otherwise the cuticle falls back into the gel polish.
Yeah, and when it touches the cuticle, then it lifts.
Yeah, of course, yes,
So
of course.
that is why. Of course, this is a beautiful soft color. Later on, we will also have a video of a harder color, so that it's a little bit more clear to see. But it's one of my favorite colors from the Mystical Nudes.
Mystical nudes, yes. Lovely.
Yeah. Working properly with your cuticle bits and with your cuticle nippers and with your pusher is very important. It is also important to always keep your pusher flat to the surface of the nail. So never hold it angled, but hold it flat. Because if you use it angled, you can damage a very important part of the natural nail unit. What is that part, Linda?
You can damage the lunula, and that's the latest, the last part of the matrix. And if you push too hard, you can damage the matrix, and you can cause really damage to the nail plate, which it's possible that the nail plate won't recover again. So
Yeah.
you really have to be really careful to push, gently push.
So when you work in the cuticle area, don't only be careful at the cuticle, but also be careful because of the half moon underneath or the matrix. So it's two ways. Cuticle, be careful. Nail plate, be careful. What a fun fact is that the model Sheriza used in this video of doing the e-manicure prep or the e-manicure is called Silvana. And Silvana is also new to Nail Talk Live. Well, not new because I know her through being a model for Sheriza. And she's handling our social media items in this season. So she's scouring the net, finding out fun and inspirational things. But this time she also shows us how she does this. But before we go to this video, of course, we introduce Silvana. Hi, Silvana.
Hi, guys. My name is Silvana Huiberts. I'm a nail technician for 4 years, and I only do shorties. For this show, I'm going to be your social media expert. I'm going to show you some famous, popular, and funny videos that I find on social media like Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. but I did my own version of how I do my prep. So let's have a look. So first I put the cuticle back with a cuticle pusher. Be sure that you also push the little hooks back, little sides. Then I use the same prep bit as Cerisa did. And I'm left-handed, so I do it like reverse and forward difficult, the different ways. I put the proximal nail fold a little bit open.
So are you pushing against the cuticle with your bit?
Yeah, so it goes a little bit up. Then I use my scissors for a left hand, and you also have right-handed. And I only cut the little white, that skin that you see. That's the only things that I cut. And to polish the skin, I use the same buffing bed as Cerisa. And then you can really make your skin really shiny. I think it's also important that you that your client always use cuticle oil at home, so 2 times a day, to really soften the cuticle.
Yeah.
Now I'm filing the nail in shape with a 220 boomerang file. It's a hygienic one, so you can always use a new one for a new client. I'm making a really short square nail.
Yeah, that's really a trend in Europe. Short nails, shorties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're showing us how to do this, and you also will be our main presenter for this when we do the show specifically around this theme.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. So I used the gel polish
Majestic blue.
Yeah, Majestic blue. Oh my god.
Beautiful color.
Yeah, it's a beautiful color.
So Silvana, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Those short nails are really the trend here in Europe, and it's like a whole new group of people.
Yeah,
Even though you also wear always short nails.
I do. Yeah.
Well, not always, but
Yeah.
most of the time.
Sometimes, yeah, most of the times, because it's less work. That's why I wear shorties.
Yeah, well, it's also very comfortable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And a beautiful short nail is also super feminine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, if you look at your hands, it's still very feminine because it's so...
Yeah.
But more on that, of course, a little bit later. Silvana mentioned the use of cuticle oil. So how should we use cuticle oil and what do we advise? And for this, we need to go to our experts.
Well, of course, cuticle oil is important. And when you are cutiling your oil,
That's
a new
good
thing.
one. Cutiling your oil.
That's a new thing.
when you use your cuticle oil, just keep your hand up and
Add some drops.
add some drops. Thank you. Underneath your nail, so it can soak into the hyponychium through the sidewalls, through your cuticle. That's in that way the nail gets, or the cuticle gets, the most oil. So do it twice a day, and if necessary, do it more. Especially during Corona, when you're washing your hands more.
Mhm.
So
It's more
Yeah.
dry,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
use it all the time.
yeah.
I'm really addicted to oil. I love oil.
Well, I'm also addicted to oil, mostly premium olive oil.
No.
No, anyway, that was a joke. It is important when you advise to use a cuticle oil or you use a cuticle oil in your salons that it's made of natural ingredients that actually also penetrate the skin. There are many oils that are really made of castor oil or for instance, olive oil. When you think you use that, it will not penetrate into the skin, so it's actually quite pointless. That brings me back to another topic. That is the cutting of the cuticle. Some people believe that when you cut the cuticle, like you saw a little bit done by Silvana, and later we will cut a little bit more, that the skin will grow back stronger, more thicker, and that it will be even rougher, that cuticle. Sheriza, what's your opinion about that? Because you've been cutting cuticles, I believe.
Yes, yes, that's true. Already for 3 years now, I think. Before I used the electric manicure, but now I make a combi manicure. So I use my prep it, and after that I cut the cuticle that is up. I cut it in a nice, clean way. And if you don't know how to do that, don't do it at all. But it's very important that at home your customers can use, your clients can use, have to use a lot of oil and have to be hydrated. And it's hydrate the best if it's not full of that skin. So I don't think it's. I think your nails can be more beautiful, even more beautiful.
We can even compare it to having a facial done. Of course, first you scrub your face to remove the dead skin cells before you apply your serums and your moisturizers. Otherwise, it cannot penetrate, or it won't be as effective as it would without the exfoliation.
Yeah.
It's the same.
I love to exfoliate, of course.
Yeah.
So, now we go to the Russian manicure. We asked Natalia Gritsenko to show us how this is done with a scissor going from one side to the other side. And let's have a look at what she's doing and take special notice of how she's holding her scissor. Because it's important, if this is the cuticle that you hold your scissor straight to it, like this, not like that, because then you will cut, not like this, because then you will go underneath with the tip of your scissors.
So again, the angle.
The angle,
Yeah.
the angle of the file, the angle of the brush, the angle
So
of the
important.
cuticle scissors.
Yeah.
So what you can see here, Natalia is going to work on her husband, and she's using Prep and Wipe in the inside of her cuticle pusher, so that she has a kind of lubrication when she starts to push back that cuticle to slide even. She does this to prevent over-wetting the nail unit. She's holding the pusher, as we mentioned before, flat to the nail surface, and now is removing the excess Prep and Wipe. Using the diamond cuticle bit, which is a different cuticle bit, it's more pointed, she's going around the cuticle, and with the tip of this cuticle bit, she's actually going underneath the cuticle, just lifting it up as she goes. And we can see also that happening, that the very edge of the proximal fold stands up a little bit. Sometimes you have to be quite acrobatic to work in the corners of the nail.
Yeah, that's true.
We can see now already she's brushing the dust away, going towards the cuticle. That also helps to open up the cuticle to make it stand out. This is the dreaded cutter, the cuticle scissor. And she's going to start here, and she's going to use little baby steps to cut off the whole edge of the cuticle. And I have to be honest, when I look at this, it scares me, but we know she knows what she's doing.
Yes.
She knows what she's doing, and she gets the cuticle in itself whole, and that's really fulfilling.
And what is important is that you can see the scissor, the blade, the cutting blade of the scissor underneath the cuticle, so that you can see that you don't go too far.
Yeah.
It is just up against that wall of the cuticle. Am I right, Teresa?
Yes, that's true. And I think a very important thing to say is that this is not just a scissor. You need a very thin skin scissor.
Sharp.
Very sharp, and
Super
very
sharp.
thin also. Yeah, makes it sharp when it's thinner.
Don't use that scissor also to cut your forearms.
No,
or
even not a
hair.
hair, nothing, nothing. Only the skin.
She's now cleaning the nail using a baby wipe.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And you can see, by the way, how she cleans the nail that she's not really happy yet, because we see here just a tiny bit left of skin. She pulls back also the skin with her thumb,
Yes.
so to get even easy access to that cuticle. And now she goes there. Tongue, tongue. What we show you now is, of course, also the buffing of the natural nail.
I love this bit.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
But the skin have to be gone now, because if there's a little bit excess skin,
Yeah.
it's not nice to use this buffing bit, because you cannot take it off with this bit.
No.
No,
This
it
is
will
only
tear,
to
actually.
yes. So it has to be
It has to
clean
be
and
perfect.
Then,
Yeah.
and then after to make it more perfect, even with the buffing bit. Yeah,
No,
very nice.
But I have to say that her husband doesn't have a lot of cuticle.
No, looks good.
Looks good.
Yes.
What we've shown you is a responsible way of cutting the cuticle. But make sure that you have a proper education so that you have the knowledge what you are doing. Make also sure that you never go too far. Know where to cut, how to cut, and be confident in doing that, because otherwise just use your cuticle pusher or your e-file to do the manicure. That is sufficient, but for that perfect, beautiful, super tight end result, you can cut away the non-living tissue. Non-living tissue. So it's dead. It's not living. I've made my point. Let's go to Silvana with her social media items.
Hello, I'm back. One of the famous nail art technique is using designer brands on nails. Let's have a look. We have here the brand Fendi on real shorty nails. We have another one. Dior ones.
That's actually quite cool.
Yeah,
I think so.
much pink for Linda. I think Linda likes it.
You know me.
And for the last one, we have different kinds of brands. I see Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Chanel. I think it's really nice. Have you ever done anything like this, Cerisa?
No, I never done this before, but I think I have a very cool Louis Vuitton design, and I think I'm gonna make it on your nails, Sil, if you like. And you?
Yeah, that's okay. We can do that. But Pepijn, is this legal or illegal? Can you tell me something about it?
Well, the brand logos are of course part of their trademark, and I wouldn't play around with the trademarks of somebody's company or brand. Especially, of course, sometimes people ask me, Pepijn, can't Magnetic make a stamping plate with all of these brand logos? And the answer is no, because it's not our trademark. But we do have our own logo, of course, on the stamping plate, and I have to say that's my favorite logo of all. Silvana, thank you for your first time social media items.
I see you next week.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever do brands on
No.
a nail?
No, I'm not a brand girl.
No, you're not a brand girl.
No.
I think you would even take off the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really, yeah.
Well, every Nail Talk Live, of course, is all about inspiration. Today it was more educational, but now comes the inspirational part. And for that, this time Julia Vorobieva creates her watercolor rose. And while you are watching this, this is really a different way of creating a nail. When I first saw this, I was like, huh, what is she doing? This is Tinkerbell gel polish, one of the glitter gel polishes that we launched last year. And now she's taking a little bit of white gel. White is white gel polish, which is quite thick, huh?
Yeah.
And she's just bubbling this around.
A little bit thicker.
Yeah, a little bit thicker than you would do
Because-
normally. And now she's using cling fill. Why is she doing that?
To
Lynn?
get a relief. Relief?
Yeah, relief to
relief.
the nail
Yes.
structure.
Yeah.
And when that is cured, there's of course a little bit sticky layer, and she's now using, Shariza, this is
It's a neon pigment.
neon pigment.
Yeah.
And she's now working, she's going to work with the glass gel polishes in combination with clear, because what is she doing?
Oh, she's adding color
Yeah.
and she's making roses. I see them already.
Well, that is
Just, yeah.
great
adding
that
some
you do,
color,
because I
yeah.
don't see it yet.
Yeah,
That's
that's
our
really,
experts.
really cool. And it's transparent, so you can see the background still. And
And she blends it
blending
in a little bit?
Yeah, together. And then, of course, the Extreme Matte Top Gel.
Yeah, a life without extreme matte top gel. And what is she doing with air? Are she going to air nails?
Yeah, no. She's going to paint with air nails because she can paint. It's
Yeah, it's
really
Oh,
thin.
that
Very
is-
nice.
Painting with air nails, I didn't know that was possible.
Never thought about it.
You can make beautiful, beautiful aquarelle designs with air nails paints because it's so thin.
And she used the background now.
Yeah.
For the coloring and the
And
Yeah,
now
so the
she's
background
actual design.
becomes the inside of the petal or something.
Yeah.
yes.
So a rose.
Yeah, this is the typical rose build-up. Huh?
Yeah.
Around each, the flower leaf petals go around each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the air nails paint is brilliant to use this.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
because
definitely
it's
going to do
super
it.
transparent as well.
Yes, very nice.
Like
an
like.
aquarelle. Very nice.
And now she's removing the excessive paint.
Yeah, so she's pushing it down,
Yeah.
having a blob, cleaning the brush, pulling it out.
Yeah. And then you have the borders around. Well, this leaf.
And she mixed now the air nails paint with the glass gels or not?
No. Cool, huh?
Very nice.
Yeah, I
And
especially like
everything
the
with
white
the detail
leaves.
is free.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that's purely technique.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because it's a bigger brush.
But you can make also beautiful nail art with a hairbrush.
Of course.
It's technique.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's
very
beautiful.
cool.
Look
Very
at that.
nice.
Oh, those petals, it's like if they are floating in thin air.
Beautiful. And of course the air nail stop gel
Is that a top gel with or without a sticky layer?
without a sticky layer. High shine. Beautiful.
And this design
Amazing.
really needs to be shiny.
Yeah, and now you see all of the glitters from the back coming up. I really
Very
love this.
cool.
Really soft and colorful, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Definitely is
extremely
colorful.
colorful.
Yeah.
I really am at a loss of this is a whole new way of doing designs.
She's not afraid of colors. You have
Yeah.
No,
to try
she's not.
sometimes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it gives a very
Cool.
cool effect. I
Yeah.
have to say, it
It
gives a
does.
very cool effect. It really is. Follow Julia Vorobieva, of
Yeah.
course, on Insta or on Facebook, because if you need inspiration, she's the gal for you. That also goes, of course, for Julia Koncharova and our great trainers. Well, that was the first of this season, yes?
Yeah, it was.
What did you think?
I think it was fun.
Yeah?
What did you think about
Well,
it?
I also think it was fun.
It was
a bit
interesting.
controversial.
Yeah, it was.
Perhaps a bit much,
Yeah.
but we promise in the upcoming shows more into art, more into nails, more doing nails. And that starts next week
Yeah.
with gel polish.
Yes, gel polish.
The many possibilities of gel polish. So stay tuned next week, same time, same place. Thank you for watching. And of course, from here, thank you and
Bye-bye.
thank all of you for being here today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.